morning, everybody. Thank you all very much for coming. If you don't mind, step a little closer. Hopefully we're all friends here, right? We'll start a very brief ceremony with a moment of silence, 9:03. For those of you who are old enough to remember, because it's been a few years, plane crashed into the second tower at the World Center at 9:03. So we could just take a moment of silence to begin. Thank you. So this is really, there's a lot of great parts to this job, and there's some not so great parts to this job. And I will tell there's a couple of candidates here that are looking to do this next. You will do this, and you'll think a lot about what to say, and you won't have any idea what to say, and you could talk for hours, really. I do that anyway, but normal people too talk for hours. But what is different about this? As you all know, a tragic earthquake in Morocco, thousands of people dead, and it's a tragedy, but it's different. And I was thinking about that a little bit this morning, trying to figure out what to say about something like this. And the difference between, there's obviously a lot of difference, but the difference between 9/11 and a tragedy like Morocco is 9/11 and the folks who perpetrated that crime made a choice. And that's the difference between, we see a lot of tragedy, a lot of natural disasters, a lot of things that we really can't control. So it's a tragedy, to be sure, but you really don't sit around going, why did that happen? Why did someone make that choice? And it's complicated, right? And we all have a story. Certainly, the folks that have chosen to serve in public safety, I think that's it's a special fraternity that if you don't serve, I'm not sure you can fully understand what it's like. I certainly can't, though. Like all of us, very grateful for your service and knowing that any day that could be you. The scale might be different, the cause might be different, but that, idea of sacrifice, of community, of humanity over self, that was one of the good stories, I suppose. Not worth it, but certainly a great story about resiliency and about the way we responded as a community, as a nation. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see it not caused by such a tragedy, quite frankly. And I think we all have our stories of the day, wherever you were, whatever you were doing. But my strongest memory of 9/11 is really a year later. You all might remember they had the big one-year anniversary. I wouldn't call it memorial, celebrate a big gathering, a lot of stars and all that. And the difference between 2001 and 2002 for me was I was a dad. And my son was born about 2 weeks before the first anniversary of 9/11. I remember in a very hot third floor walk-up apartment over there, and he's sitting on my lap, or I'm sitting on my legs. I remember it like it was yesterday. And that really, for me, was when it hit me. The tragedy of it, seeing all those folks that were not that different than me, going to work, new dad, new mom, maybe a grandparent, maybe from this country, maybe not, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Sikh, whatever the case may be. What a tragedy, and what a loss, and what are we going to do better? I still don't know the answer, but I'm very grateful for you all for coming. For serving the city in whatever way you do, for serving our residents, because those of us, I suppose, who do it for a paycheck know it's not about a paycheck or a title or particularly what you do. It's about serving the city. And I like to say some of the employees know this. When you're asked what you do, You say, oh, I serve the citizens of Melrose. You may be a teacher or an accountant or whatever it is you do. But if you take one thing away from what we're gathered here to remember, for all the tragedy, I hope you'll remember that. The way the community came together, and the way we kind of pulled together, pulled each other up. If we do that a little more in the future, whatever the issue, I think we're in a better place. So thank you very much for coming. I very much appreciate your service and your attention, and go home. We say this a lot sometimes after tragedy. Go home, hug your kids, hug your mom, your dad, because it's precious. Life is precious, and we learned that very dramatically on 9/11, and I hope we'll just keep it in mind every day. Thanks.